Hello, it's Big Chads coming to you on February 23rd, 2022. This is lesson 12 in the 50-part free video series based on my book, Trading Wisdom, 50 Lessons Every Trader Should Know. You can find the book right now. It's available on Amazon. Let me just remove that. It's available on Amazon right now. I have 4 formats: Kindle, hardcover, paperback, and audiobook. When the book first came out, there were a lot of people asking for an audio version, and I didn't have one at the time. So I thought, why don't I go to my YouTube channel, and I have this playlist here, Trading Wisdom, 50 Lessons Every Trader Should Know. And I've been doing basically one lesson at a time for free. It allows me to expand on the lessons in the book. And it also allows people who either can't afford the book, or people who literally can't buy the book because of some type of a restriction with their country. It allows them the ability to get access to the content. So this is lesson 12. I will eventually have all 50 lessons up there for you for free. Check out some of my other stuff as well. The tutorial educational live stream playlist I think is fantastic. I think you'll really enjoy that. I'm, of course, on Twitter at Big Cheds, academic observations about price, trading psychology. The book is on Amazon. I am also the author of My Battles with Cancer. I'm a former cancer patient and caregiver. I'm not trying to sell this book. I just want to give it to you. So if you know someone who's dealing with cancer, let me know, and I'm more than happy to just email you the book. So find a way for me to get me your email, okay? And also, I'm a founding analyst at Bitcoin Live, the best in-class educational platform for crypto. I have a new report coming out tonight. I do twice a week full market updates. I'm just one of many, a part of a really fantastic team. So if you're serious, like you really want to learn how to trade, definitely recommend you check out Bitcoin Live. Let's go ahead and get the book fired up. So today we're going to do lesson 12, define your risk. This is such an important topic. Last week we did be ready to buy the fear, and next time we'll do manage your stack. But we're doing define your risk. So for those of you who are, reading along at home, thank you for your support. And let's go to page 33. Defining your risk is incredibly important because every trade, normally starts out with what you think is a good idea. And you say to yourself, well, if I hit the right entry here, I could do really well, But it's a question of how do you know when that idea fails? How do you know when to pack it up and to say, it didn't work out? And that's what defining your risk is all about. So as always, we start out the chapter, lesson 12, with a quote. Best way to avoid these situations is to properly define your risk. Do that by setting a stop loss and refusing to add to your losing trades. Refusing. Set limits and stick with them because it's the big losers that take you out of this game. So, as I say after that, one of the keys to surviving this game we call trading is to define your risk at every available opportunity. That means limiting your position size, taking profit at major resistance, or even waiting for a better entry. It's important. How actively and carefully you define your risk will have major implications on the long-term health of your bankroll. So in that initial quote, do that by setting a stop loss and refusing to add to your losing trades. So what's a stop loss? And of course, I have a chapter on stop losses, fasten your seatbelt. That's, lesson 46. So your stop loss, right? Your stop loss is the reason you entered the trade, right? You entered the trade because the price broke a key resistance level, or, the price came back all the way back to that, even a weekly 200 moving average, something that has a high probability of bouncing off of. If that fails, right, then your stop loss should trigger because your idea has failed, right? Your stop loss is the point at which your idea fails. So if it broke a resistance, then it came back below and failed to hold that level, your stop loss triggered, right? Because your idea failed. So you define your risk by setting a stop loss and refusing to add to your losing trade. So a losing trade, you've already made a mistake. It's not going the way you thought it was going. Why add to a losing idea? You should be much more comfortable, and you should be programming yourself and trying to find spots and ways to add to winning ideas, to average up. You've already correctly, guessed the momentum, the direction of the trade. You have a nice entry. You want to add to that. If you're playing a reversal, most of the big losses from people are charts that they're trying to guess when a reversal happens, and they were early and it didn't reverse, so they just added more, saying, well, it's going to bounce eventually. That's not how you do it, right? You wait for a confirmation that the trend is reversed, then you jump in. We talk about that in other lessons. But that's the key. You set your stop loss, you define your risk, you refuse to add to losing trades. In the back of the book, one really bad habit you should try to avoid is refusing to sell for a loss, right? Refusing to sell for a loss. It's down a little bit. You don't want to admit you made a mistake. Maybe even, you're even being more responsible, and you have a spreadsheet and you log, all your trades, wins and losses. And you're just like, man, I don't want to log another losing trade, even though it's 200. I can turn this one around. I'm not going to take a loss. Well, that small loss becomes a big loss, right? Because you didn't stick to your stop loss. One really bad habit you should try to avoid is refusing to sell for a loss. I know from personal experience how hard a habit this is to break, as well as how harsh the penalty can be for having it. I do. I'm telling you, like all these mistakes, I've made them 100 times. It's a terrible habit to break, not wanting to sell for loss. I'm actually in a trade right now, which I've played poorly, and I'm trying to exit out of, and I actually didn't follow my stop loss. So, even you probably think I'm a masterful trader. I mean, it's you're still dealing with your emotions, and it's probably going to be a pretty decent loss, and it will be one of the biggest ones in a while. And it's all because I didn't stick to my plan. So, really important that you stick to your plan. I usually do it, but I slipped up, and it's when you don't follow your rules, it's when you get into big trouble, right? So I'm a cautionary tale with the trade I'm in. And as I say here, I know from personal experience how hard a habit it is to break. It's terribly hard to break. The bottom line is that you need to cut your losers before they destroy your trading account. Like those big losses will just cripple your account. And sometimes those big losses come after a big win, which is an interesting topic. I believe I discussed that in confidence. Let's see. One of these chapters off the top of my head, I can't tell you right now, but it has to do with trading with confidence. Dealing with success. So one of the things I talk about in lesson 26 is like dealing with success, and then you get overconfident, and that can lead to a big loser as well. I cannot tell you how many times as a trader I have refused to sell for a small loss, and it blew up in my face. When I looked at my brokerage account and hit refresh, seeing that position in red made me feel uncomfortable. And because of that, I was unwilling to sell. Selling would have made the loss permanent, right? Because I'm using my spreadsheet, I'm logging my trades. It would have made the loss permanent. So what happened next? That small loss turned into a massive loss. So every massive loss you ever take was once a small loss begging to be cut, was once a small loss begging to be made permanent, right? So you shouldn't be afraid to make permanent those small losses. It's almost like a win because you've saved the rest of your funds and you've defined your risk, which is what this lesson is about, defining your risk. As I say in the book, I was too stubborn to sell and take my medicine, and instead of selling, I stood there frozen in panic. I didn't want to take the loss. I was a little bit frozen in panic. I didn't know what to do. Quote from the book, refusing to take a small loss will often lead to the opportunity to refuse to take a big loss, right? Refusing to take a small loss will lead to the opportunity to refuse to take a big loss. And what's implied there is that if you don't take a small loss, it's going to become a big loss. So you need to reorient your thinking. You need to always be defining your risk, taking profit as you're approaching resistance, not adding to losers, sticking to your stop loss, and even before that, defining your trade and kind of knowing when that idea will fail so you can have a stop loss. I mean, that's defining your risk. So as I say in the book, how do you avoid getting stuck in this position? Start with a trading plan and stick to that plan, which of course includes using a stop loss based on your trading idea or thesis. Once your trade is sufficiently in profit, moving your stop loss up to a break-even or better level is a great way to remove the stress and anxiety that comes from holding that position. So you've correctly guessed the trade. If it's a long, once it's gone up a little bit, move your stop loss up to at least break even. Or if it's a short, move your stop loss down. Once you're at that level where you're at break even or better in the trade, I mean, it's just like a burden's lifted off of you, because it kind of doesn't matter necessarily what happens either way. It's called a free roll. You're essentially free rolling. That's what you want to do. As I say in the book, this strategy works great for me, as I like to be free riding as soon as possible. That's why I put in the book, free riding. Of course, you could counter that I am probably losing out on some gains, moving my stop loss too early. But I am okay with that, as I like to define my risk, and with that, my stress level as well. So everyone's a little bit different in terms of how they handle stress, how they even summon stress, and then how they handle stress. For me, I found that getting to that break even or better spot, it just makes it a lot easier for me, helps to take the stress out of the equation. I'm cutting my losses. I'm refusing to add to my losers most of the time. Like I said, I'm in a bad trade right now, which I'll learn a lesson from. So just remember, it doesn't matter how well you're doing, you're always learning. And it's you got to be careful, because it's easy to keep making mistakes. And I'll learn from this to stick to my plan. The plan is, stick to your stop loss, define your risk, take profit when you can, move your stop loss up, and, just don't add to your losers. As I say in the book, and I end the chapter with a quote, moving your stop loss into profit is a great way to reduce your stress level towards zero, right? Lesson 12, trading wisdom, 50 lessons every trader should know. So you really need to define your risk, because the market, these markets we trade are incredibly volatile. So it starts from knowing when your idea is going to fail, and then just accepting that and say, okay, the idea failed. I'm going to move on. I'm going to survive. I'm going to allow myself to keep trading, and hopefully find a better opportunity when it comes around. So that is lesson 12. I'm, of course, on Twitter at Big Cheds, academic observations about price, trading psychology. I appreciate you following me. The book is available now. It's on Amazon, Kindle, hardcover, paperback, and audiobook. The reviews have been unbelievable. It's like I'm up to 5 stars, even better, 4.8 out of 5. It's unbelievable, and that's nearly 500 ratings. So the book's been incredibly well received. I really appreciate your support for that. I'm very proud of that, of course. Before this, I did publish a book about my journey with cancer, dealing with cancer as a patient and a caregiver. Let me send you this book, especially if you know someone who's dealing with cancer. Find a way to get me your email, either here or on Twitter. Of course, I'm on YouTube. You know that you're watching this video. This book is going into the playlist, Trading Wisdom, 50 Lessons Every Trader Should Know. I'll have eventually the whole book up for you for free, for the folks who can't afford it or really can't even buy it based on whatever country they're in. And of course, I'm a founding analyst at Bitcoin Live. I've been doing this for coming up on 4 years here. Incredibly proud to be part of this team. It's just a really wonderful, wonderful team. If you're serious about learning how to trade, definitely encourage you to check that out. So I hope everyone is doing well out there. Trading is difficult. Make sure that you define your risk, and everything else will become a little bit easier. All right? I'll talk to you soon. Big Cheds out.